This is the Warminster Town Football Club Supporter Podcast. This is the podcast by supporters for supporters. We bring you match reports, interviews, and much more. We travel both home and away to bring you the excitement of non-league football to wherever you are. Hello and welcome to episode 10 of the Warminster Town Supporter Podcast, and I'm your host, Roland Millward. Coming up in this week's show, we'll be interviewing Tim Fry, the manager of Warminster Town Ladies, and he's going to tell us a little bit about the success they're having on the field right now. Our guest of the week is Rob Nash, assistant manager to Warminster Town First Team. Please listen in to see what Rob has to say about his footballing background and how he feels that football is going at Warminster Town Football Club. All this and more. Stay tuned. Once again, we welcome Jamie House. Jamie, thanks for joining us on the podcast. We've had a good weekend of football. A mixed weekend of football. It's always good to get some football in, but from Warminster's point of view, we've had the good and the bad, haven't we, really?
Yeah, it's been a bit of a mixed bag weekend, to say the least.
So first of all, we started out on Saturday with the trip to league leaders, Welton Rovers, and a win there would have been rather nice, but it wasn't to be. Can you just run us through that game? Yeah,
bad day at the office, I think, is probably the way to put it. It's always a tough place to go. I think we've found Welton Rovers is always a tough place to go. And they are top of the league at the moment. They've had a fantastic start to their season. You know, they've played 9 games and they've won 7 of them and not lost any. So, it was always going to be a tough game. The game in the end finished 3-0 to the hosts. I'm not entirely sure that was reflective. I think we were the better side for a little, to start off with. Then we conceded and we just never really found our footing in the game after that. And they got a couple more. They all came through mistakes more than anything else, I think, unfortunately. I think it was kind of our own undoing in that game.
Well, it was. When you look at the goals, the free kick, everybody's saying it wasn't a foul, but the foul was given right on the edge of the box, and they managed to squeeze it round the wall and precisely place it to the corner, and Callum couldn't quite get to it. And then the other two were kind of disastrous, really, in that way, and especially the third goal, that was a bit of a giveaway.
Yes, yeah, that was a proper mix-up.
Proper mix-up on that one. So, as you say, a bad day at the office, and we know Mr. Crabtree was expressing his thoughts at the end of the game as he sat the players down on the pitch for a little chat, shall we say. So hopefully that's done the trick.
Hopefully.
But on the positive note, on Sunday, tell us what happened.
Yeah, the ladies travelled to Melksham Town, which we all thought was going to be a pretty tough game. Melksham have had a reasonable start to the season. I think they've won 3 of their 4 opening games and they haven't lost any. It turned out to be a very good afternoon for the girls, winning 6-0. It was quite a comfortable win in the end, and a very pleasant afternoon out, actually, and nice to visit the very impressive facilities at Melksham Town's Oakfields headquarters.
Yeah, very nice indeed, isn't it? Very impressive. Lots of parking as well, so it's a great venue for football, and a credit to them. 6 goals, 3 in each half. The referee blew his whistle with 3 minutes to go in the second half. So that was quite surprising. After almost just scored the 6th goal, I think he said, "Well, that's enough now. Let's blow the whistle, go home."
Well, exactly. Yeah, want to get home for his
referee
team.
We had on Saturday as well.
yeah, exactly the same referee. Yeah, that was quite unusual.
So, but a good result. We're not talk too much about Melksham Ladies because we'll be talking to their manager shortly after we've spoken here. So we're looking forward to Tim Fry telling us his thoughts on that game and the one before. So we haven't interviewed him for a couple of games, so we'll get 2 for the price of 1. So when we think about it, then it's perhaps chalk that one off as a bad day at the office at Welton, and let's move on to the next game, which we'll talk about at the end of this podcast, Jamie. We'll review the league tables and the games coming up then. So don't go away. it's now time to find out what's happening at Warminster Town Ladies FC. Once again, we're very pleased that the manager of Warminster Town Ladies is with us, Tim Fry. Good evening, Tim. How are you doing?
Good evening, Roland. Yeah, not too bad, thank you. Yourself?
Yeah, very well. And very pleased to have seen the last two ladies' matches and quite a lot of goals scored. Perhaps you'd like to talk us through the last two matches, Tim?
Yeah, definitely. Well, we did promise you. I think Lewis mentioned it last week as well. We are promising you goals.
Yeah, indeed.
Since we spoke last, we've played two league fixtures. A couple of weeks back, we played FC Carl up at Weymouth Street. And I think we were spoken before where we were saying we want to keep a clean sheet. But that was our biggest victory. We won 14-0. And plenty of goals, but that elusive clean sheet we got there in the end. But it was a really good performance. I've been saying at the start, we haven't really started games well. Keep going back to the Freedom games, probably the best we played. But I think since Salisbury at home when we won, I think it was 4-1, we've just started hitting a little bit of form now. We beat Salisbury, played well. FC Calne came, we played them, scored 14, clean sheet, played well. So we're just into this nice little run at the moment, which is really good.
Yeah, indeed. Well, so 14 goals takes some doing on any team, doesn't it? And that was a really good performance. And then, of course, we think, well, the next team's bound to be tougher and a stronger team. And you went to Melksham on Sunday and still got a victory. Tim, like to talk us through that one?
Yeah, I'll just quickly go back to the Calne one, Roland.
Okay.
Yes, I think, just a couple of things worth noting on the Calne match. Megan Fear got another hat-trick. Got herself 4 in the game. Mia Blasey got herself another hat-trick, another 3 for the game. So there are 2 top goal scorers at the moment, both into double figures now. But a couple of others popped up. Sophie Wiley popped up with a couple. Rachel popped up with 2. Beck Snelling, Millie Spratt and Rebecca Guy, they both come in with 1. So it was good, even though our top strikers are getting the goals. It's nice that we're getting goals from everywhere around on the pitch. Millie, Sophie, 2 centre halves, they're popping up and getting some goals now, which is really good. A couple of wider players are coming in now and contributing as well. So it's really good. And also just worth mentioning on that one, Rebecca Guy got MOM for the Calne game.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't start, but when she came on, had a real impact in the game, played really well. So just a little mention for Rebecca on that one.
Yeah, excellent. Okay. It was nice to give the players a nice shout out. That's good.
Yeah, and then going back to it, I think up until now in the league, I think Salisbury's been our biggest test. And we played well in that one. And then obviously we're going away to Melksham. Historically, Melksham have always had a strong side. So we're expecting a tough match. We got there. There was some talk about sort of some players coming in from sort of higher clubs and everything. A player, number 10, apparently Joel signed for Larkhall. But I have to say that's probably our best, an overall team performance, that's probably our best performance. Started well, started with pace, started with a real purpose in the game, kept our shape, determined to keep a clean sheet. All the things that we've been striving to do over the last couple of weeks really came into the game on Sunday. And a couple more goals. Lauren Gowan got a brace, Beck Snelling got a brace. And then, again, a couple of players on debut goals for the season, with Sammy Kirk getting her first goal for the club, and then Poppy Spratt getting her first goal for the season. So, once again, everyone's contributing. I think the thing that probably stands out, I just mentioned about our 2 top strikers in double figures. We actually beat Melksham away 6-0 without the 2 top strikers getting a goal.
Yeah, that's good in that way, yeah.
So, but then I don't want to undermine, Mia will definitely be telling me about her assists, so I'll give her a mention for her assists as well. But no, it was good. We kept our shape, got them on the back foot, really tight at the back, really good. They definitely did have one player up top, a striker. When she was on the ball, you could see she was a good player, but Lydia Shibley was marking her. She got MOM, and it was a really good overall team performance yesterday.
Yeah.
And then when you look back, just talking about that little run of form, Salisbury going into Caen, then going into Melksham, we're just on a really nice run at the moment.
So, Tim, not far off the top spot, really, just in second place at the moment to Chippenham. So we're game in hand as well. So that's all looking positive.
It's good. It's a good position to be in. Like you said, Chippenham are top, but we've got a game in hand. And then just behind us, I think we've got Highworth. So I think it's just the three of us that are unbeaten now. So yeah, we take one game at a time. We're away to Bath on Sunday, then we're home to Trowbridge Wanderers, and then we're away to Caen. So we haven't got a bad run of games, to be honest, for the next couple of weeks. But yeah, just got to keep winning, keep clean sheets, and keep scoring the goals.
That's good. And you're starting to get a good following as well now. Quite a good attendance home. Seem to have quite a few travelling fans at Melksham as well, which was nice.
Yeah, I'll be honest, a bit involved in the game yesterday, so I didn't get a chance to sort of turning around and counting too many, but there seemed to be a good crowd there. And there was a good few supporting, players that weren't selected were there supporting the team, which was really good to see. So, yeah, it's good. Like I said, we've had a good following up the town. We've had some good numbers, and I think we've mentioned it a few times. We score a lot of goals. So I think it's good, entertaining football.
That's it. So we'd encourage everyone, as we always do on the podcast, to come along and watch Warminster Town Ladies. You can find details on the website as well, because we do put your fixtures on there. So always keep us in tune with what's going on, Tim. We'll make sure everybody knows where the matches are and they can follow along. And thanks again for joining us here. I know you're a busy chap, so thank you for giving up your time. We appreciate that very much indeed.
Just one more thing, Roland, before I forget. We do have a friendly up the town on Thursday, hopefully.
Excellent. Kick-off 7:30, is that one, I believe?
Kick-off 7:30. We've got a friendly match against Shaftesbury. We played them pre-season, but we've got a friendly against them on Thursday, all being well. I was up there yesterday, and Graham was sort of a little bit concerned about the pitch, so we might wait till Tuesday, Wednesday. But all being well, we've got a game up there, 7:30 on Thursday against Shaftesbury. So yeah, if people want to come along, it'd be great to see some more people up there.
Excellent. We'll keep an eye on your Twitter feed. So if you let us know, we'll make sure everybody knows as well. So that'd be good.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tim. Thanks for joining us once again.
No problem, Roland. Sorry it was brief, but thank you.
Pleasure. Once again, my thanks to Tim Fry, manager of Warminster Town Ladies. And for more information about Warminster Town Ladies, do follow Warminster Town's Facebook page, because both the ladies and men's teams are detailed on there along with the fixtures, as well as the website warminstertownfc.com. But now it's time for someone special. Coming up next, it's our guest of the week. So we're very pleased to welcome our guest of the week, Rob Nash. Thanks for joining us, Rob. How are you doing?
Hi, good evening, Roland. How are you?
Very well indeed. Thank you very much. Looking forward to interviewing you. So thanks for taking the time to come along and to be part of our podcast. So we'd like to start really with you telling us a little bit about your footballing background, what you've done in the past, etc.
Well, obviously, played a lot at school in my younger days. Back in those days, it seems such a long time ago now, we didn't necessarily have the same opportunities as a lot of youngsters have now. We only really sort of played football at school. When I left school, when I left junior school, when I went to secondary school, again, it was just school football. And then Highbury was founded when I was a teenager, so there was an opportunity there for youth football in the town. At that time, they started off with just one side, and I can remember they invited kids from schools and to go along to trials. And I can remember it was down on the Wreck in Warminster, and I think there must have been 40 or 50 kids turned up, and they had to field one team. So unfortunately, I didn't make the cut. But as time progressed, they had more teams and more age groups. So I was lucky enough to play 2 or 3 years for Highbury. I think it was under 14s, under 15s. Then I went to play for Warminster in the youth team up there for one season. We won the league, which was cool. That was back maybe 30 years ago now. And then I just played local men's football, really. I played for a team out of Sutton Veen we were called the Woolpack Wasps. Played out there with Rob McFerrin, Sean Bowden, quite a lot of the other guys that have been up at Warminster. We played in the Trojan League on Saturdays and the Freeman District League on a Sunday, which was quite a strong league on a Sunday. Because you did have a lot of the Warminster Town players played for us on a Sunday, and we had 2 teams, believe it or not, on a Sunday. I mean, local junior football was quite strong back in those days, 30 years ago. And there was a lot of local teams. I mean, I think Freeman District League was made up. It did have, I think it was 3 or 4 divisions, and it was a well-supported league, and it was a reasonable standard as well, because you played against a lot of Western League players on a Sunday morning. So I played football, probably adult football, till I was about 26. I gave up really because I struggled with injury a bit with my knees and latterly my hip. Really sort of, so I could stay involved in some capacity. I stopped playing, and I got involved with Highbury Youth then. I did my coaching badges about 12 years ago. Well, I did a coaching badge because my son started playing, and I followed him all the way through, coached him all the way through. Highbury did 12 years coaching there. And then we went up to Warminster as a youth side. I had 1 season doing the under-16s, and then I got sort of fancied a different challenge, and I took on the reserves last year. It was quite a difficult, sort of hard task at times. I would imagine a reserve team at any club's quite a hard task. The first team's a priority. And we struggled for players a lot last year. We had a very young side, which I think is good. You want to try and develop younger players and get them eventually into a first team. And then as the season progressed, obviously with the weather, we had a lot of games called off. And Andy asked me if I could help a few times, and sort of ended up doing half and half really. I did a lot with the reserves, and then I helped the first team for probably a dozen or so games last year, which I really enjoyed. And then Andy asked me if I want to carry on with the first team this season. So yeah, I jumped at the chance really, and been really enjoying it ever since.
Good. So how are you finding it with the first team? It's obviously a step up from reserves.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's been a bit of a learning curve for me really, and I mean, I've watched a lot of Western League football over the years. I've watched Warminster a lot, but it's good to be involved. I like being involved. I'm not a great watcher, especially at local football. I mean, I watched a fair bit of professional football as well, but it's hard to watch local football without wanting to be involved. And I like helping out. I like Andy and Martin and Eddie. I think we've got a good sort of set up there, a good management structure, and we've got a good change room, good set of lads. And I think if we carry on the way we're going, we're going to have a successful season. Obviously, Saturday was a bit disappointing with the result, but you're going to get that throughout the season. I don't think many teams are going to go through a whole season without getting a few results where they're disappointed. But yeah, we've had a good start, a very good start to the season. And if you sort of look at, we're averaging two points a game. If you carry that over 39 games, we're not going to be far away. We're going to be a top 6 side quite comfortably, I think.
That's right. I mean, it's great to have a good start to the season, because if you have a bad start, it's uphill all the way, isn't it, for a long time? So
yeah, you're sort of chasing your tail a bit. I mean, I think the last few seasons, I think we've had a reasonable start. And obviously, we had the Vars games last season, which kept the season going. But yeah, it's good to do well in the league. It's the bread and butter, isn't it? It's what you do every week. In ideally, a club of our size and stature, we want to be in the top half of the division, if not in the top half a dozen teams pushing for promotion. Because we're, as you well know, Rowan, we're one of the best supported clubs in the Western League, and really we should be aiming to push ourselves up into that Premier Division.
That's right. Well, the fans are coming along, which is great, and we're giving them some good games at the end of the day, aren't we? When they come along, they're an entertaining game of football.
Absolutely. I mean, the home games this season, there's been plenty of goals in all the games. It's not as though it's been dull, boring football to watch. I think we've played some really good stuff at times this season. Getting the ball down, trying to pass the ball. We see a few different faces than we had last season. which is good. A few younger players in, which is good. But yeah, the team we've gelled really well, I think, and I think it's been a real positive start, and we can only look forward.
Yeah, I think one of the noticeable things, I think you mentioned it, more passing, definitely, and interaction between players, getting the 1-2s, the diamond shapes, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah,
That's been happening a lot more.
I think we haven't got a massive squad, and I think sometimes that helps because you know everybody knows how each other's going to play, and I think Martin's been playing up front, he's very pivotal to how we play, and we say that he's a good player with his back to goal, whereas Chev, he likes to go the other way. So those two together up top sort of feed off each other quite well. And the guys in midfield, and there's competition for places as well, which is good. It's hard for Andy sometimes, I know, because you want to give minutes to people, and sometimes it's difficult, and you've got to be quite ruthless at times. But there's competition for places, and sometimes there can be disappointed faces in the change room because they've got to be on the bench. But I mean, that's part of having a squad, and they will get their chance. We'll get injuries and suspensions. It's a long old season.
It is, yeah. It's a long way to go still, isn't it? But so you say an encouraging start. We've got a cup match coming up a little bit. We're not in the FA Vars this time, which is a bit low, but we've got the Wiltshire Senior Cup. How far do you think we can go in that? All the way?
Well, I mean, it's been interesting. I think we had a brief chat tonight, me and Andy, and it'd be nice to give minutes to players that aren't necessarily getting much game time in the league. So it's an opportunity to sort of give people time. I mean, obviously the team we're playing are a Wilkes League side. You can't underestimate these teams, so we've got to take it seriously. But at the same time, use the squad. We've got a few lads that have had a few knocks and are carrying a few injuries. It would be nice to give them a rest and give the other guys some minutes. So yeah, I mean, like with any cup football, it's on the day, really, isn't it? And as we proved last year in the Vars, you can play teams from the division above or higher leagues, and you can be really competitive. And on the day, you can turn them over. So yeah, we won't be taking anything for granted. But yeah, it'd be nice to progress as far as we can, really.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just as you say, you can perhaps move a few players around a little, give them the opportunity, which would be nice for them.
Yeah.
So thinking about the future of Warminster Town and your role there, how do you think we can do this season? Prediction time. How's that?
I think so, sort of being put on the spot. I'm a believer that you just take one game at a time and don't get too far in front of ourselves. I think you can fall into a trap. You can look at the fixture list and think, oh yeah, we'll get points here, get points there, and it never works that way. So I think somebody said Saturday, if we treat every game like a cup final and just use it as a one-off game, each game, obviously you give respect to your opposition, but I mean, you don't take anything for granted. We just got to turn up on the day and perform to our best. And if we do that, we'll be finishing in that top half a dozen, I would have thought. But like I say, it's a long season. You don't know what's around. Future injuries, suspensions can affect your form. But I mean, if we can all stay fit and suspension free, I know we will pick them up. But it's that core squad. If we can keep them all together, then yeah, I can see us doing really well.
Excellent. A little bit from your point of view as well, with the COVID changes we're having to get used to, sitting out on the pitch a bit more and not using the dressing rooms to full. Like, how's that affecting everything? How are you getting around all that?
I mean, it doesn't really matter. To me, you do probably like to go in the dressing room because you can the privacy of the dressing room, and you can talk to the players. But I mean, it is what it is, and you've just got to adhere to the rules, and we've got to adapt to it. It doesn't affect getting the message across to the players. It's just outside, isn't it? I mean, when we used to play Sunday mornings, you never went in the change room at half time. It was always out on the pitch. So I mean, the players aren't bothered by it. Not really. We just got to get used to it, and it's going to be the normal for the next few months, I would have thought.
Yeah, probably right to the end of the season, the way it looks, isn't it, at the moment?
I mean, we just got to, say, until there's a time where this virus is on the wane and we possibly have a vaccine. It is what it is, I'm afraid, and hopefully I mean, it doesn't get worse than it already is. I mean, Bradford have lost, didn't they? Bradford have called off games. They're out of it for 2 weeks now, and there's been other teams in the division above where Lebec themselves we were called off the other Saturday, and it's sort of almost getting close to home, isn't it? And you just fingers crossed that we're not affected and we can keep going.
Yeah, we've all just got to take those precautions, be sensible, follow the rules, really.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
You know, the main thing is to try and keep football going right to the end of the season. We don't want it finishing in February or March.
That's the last thing we want as a group as well, and it is sort of what you sort of look forward to. Everybody works hard, and Saturdays is your football day, and sort of take that away from people it becomes a bit of a monotony. Your Monday to Friday without football on a Saturday. I know for me that's how I look at it, and it'd be a shame if things are brought to a halt.
That's it, and with with football clubs generally, all football clubs, people go there, they see their mates, they see people. Some people have nobody to talk to all week, and football's the place they can go and have a chat, isn't it? You know, it's a community for them, and we don't want to lose that. We want to keep that going. You know, so that's good.
Yeah, I mean, it was bad enough during the summer because I played a bit of cricket as well, and we couldn't play much cricket, so it was bad enough during the summer not being able to do anything, but during the winter it'd be a double whammy. So yeah. Let's fingers crossed.
We'll keep it going. That's it. Well, thanks very much, Rob, for coming on the podcast. You know, appreciate you taking your time. I know you've been busy. You've had a training session tonight, getting ready for welcoming bottom of the league this time. We took the top on. We've got divisors coming along.
Like you say, you never know in this division. Anybody can meet anybody on their day, so we're not taking anything for granted Saturday. So, like we said, one game at a time, and we'll see where we end up.
Brilliant. Thanks very much. You take care, and we'll see you on Saturday.
Yeah, no worries, Ron. Thanks, Ed.
Cheers. Okay, so Jamie's back with us now. We're going to take a look at the league tables and the matches coming up. So shall we start with the league tables first of all, Jamie?
Yes, we have in our division, we have Welton Rovers top of the league, perhaps not surprisingly. Corsham Town are bringing up the rear in second. They've got the better of the run at the moment, but they have played less games. They've only played 7 games and they've won all 7. Whereas Welton have played 9 and won 7 and drawn 2. Ashton and Backwell are in 3rd. Wincanton are in 4th, and Calm Town are in 5th place. They round out the top 5, and we're just outside the top 5 in 6th. So I don't think we've actually lost any places due to the defeat at the weekend, which is always a positive. Then at the bottom, we have Devizes Town. Then in 19th, Longwell Green. 18th, Bishop's Lydiard. 17th, Oldland Abertonians. And 16th, Bristol Phones. And I don't think the middle of the table has really altered that much over the weekend.
Very close, isn't it?
It is all very close in the middle at the moment.
Yeah, you think Bishop Sutton's on 12 in 15th. Then you've got Bristol Telephones on 9 points. And then you've got the others are on 3, 3, 1, 1. So there's developing a bit of a gap between the bottom 4 at the moment.
Yeah, all the teams above, sort of from 15th upwards, are starting to pull away a bit now. Yeah,
they are a little bit there. Of course, looking at that table, the 100% record from Corsham, they came from behind twice apparently to go on and win 3-2, and Cairn lost their unbeaten record 2-1 down at Cheddar. So that puts a little bit of cat among the pigeons about the two at 100%. So only two teams now with let's say 100% no defeat record. Yes,
which is quite unusual, but even at this point of the season, normally even one of the top teams would have maybe lost a game. So yeah, it's quite surprising to see no less than 2 teams at the top there with no defeats to their name.
Right, now coming up on Saturday at Weymouth Street, we are looking forward to another home match, and this time it is bottom of the table rather than travelling away to the top. We've got them bottom at home. Devizes Town. They've played 8, had 1 draw, let in 20. Goal difference is minus 20. So. We've got to watch this one, haven't we?
Well, yes, it's one we should be winning. Let's be honest, but you never know. But yeah, Devizes have had an incredibly poor start to the season. Their season has not gone on very well. Started very well, and they've, as you say, they've played 8. They've not won. They've only drawn 1, and they've lost the other 7. and as you say, their goal difference is -20. So yeah, it's not been a good start for them at all.
As we saw with Wincanton, they had a terrible start, and now they're in 4th position. I know they played more games, but you never know. That turning point can come any time in this league, and the boys have got to be a bit aware of that. That on paper, it's a win. In reality, it could be quite tough.
Well, exactly as you say, you never know what's going to happen in non-league football, and that is the beauty of non-league football.
It is the beauty of it, indeed. I mean, football generally it can happen, but it happens more so in non-league than your Premiership sides, etc., doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Jamie, that's it for this week. Thank you very much indeed for joining us again on the podcast, and we'll look forward to the match on Saturday when we take on Devizes Town. Well, there goes the final whistle, and that brings this week's podcast to an end. We've hoped you enjoyed the Warminster Town Football Club supporter podcast. So before you go, if you haven't done so already, please do subscribe using your favourite platform. Thanks for listening.